Hello everyone! First big video of 2023, and it's going to be a blast from the past. For those of you who don't know, the first Rogue Robot review I did was of 4867, only I had no idea what I was doing. Without any script, editing, music, nothing, I was basically just recording myself rambling with a few photos of the dude on a tablet, and I had to keep making follow-up episodes for information that I forgot to include. Obviously, I'm pretty dissatisfied with and ashamed of those horrendously outdated embarrassments, and this robot deserved far better treatment than this. So, here we are trying again with the one that started it all, 4867. A member of the Human Assistant/Maintenance class, 4867 was built by and large to transport and serve food to the Axiom's passengers via these large white trays. He may perform other services across the ship, but that's just pure speculation for the time being. So, how about we go into his design now? 4867 is a free-flying bot with a boxy, square-shaped head. He has an extended upper back and a pair of scarlet-red stripes wrapping vertically around his large white body. His vision screen displays a pair of bright, gleaming yellow eyes, and below that is a barcode with the number 4867. On his rear is a red backpack with a big gray B&L logo on it, alongside a tall red and black elevating piece for the arms, with a little vent on the bottom. The arms themselves, which are similar to the ones found on other characters, start with these large black shoulders with a white plate and diagonal crease along the side. These hold a long black rubbery extension, leading to a pair of connected white joints attaching on the inside. Following this is yet another black extension, connected to a set of small hinged joints atop this large plate which allows the arm to slide back and forth. The large upper arm has a dark vent on one side, and a pair of rectangular panels on the other. Attached to the gray elbow joint is a much thinner forearm, holding a set of red claws, with black grippers inside. And that's 4867's design for ya. It's very simple, clinical, a little redundant, and doesn't even really remind me of anything, but I wouldn't necessarily call it dull. It's just not one of my favorites. And fun fact, as seen in the trailers, he originally had blue eyes, but this was changed last minute, presumably to add visual variety. Onto his most prominent appearances, one makes a cameo, speeding by the passenger that Wally first meets, and another, quite infamously, gets caught in Wally's big robot jam, colliding into a long-necked boy. I love his squinting expressions here as he prepares for impact.
No, 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 no!
One unit stops to see the wanted signs everywhere, and proceeds to point at Wally and Eve. Several of them are seen avoiding hands at the intersection during the climax, and directly after, one is seen on the sidelines carrying a tray of drinks with one hand. Why is this significant? Because it resembles a piece of concept art we have of a robot serving drinks with a single arm, like a butler or a waitress. At first, I assumed this was yet another scrapped idea among many, but no, it actually made it into the film. Now, quite a lot of them are seen on Earth at the end of the movie, most prominently this guy, as he watches the humans watering the plant. But before we move on to the rogue robot, I need to explain the new repair ward layout code system, as I promised to address this last time. So, the repair ward waiting room has two sides for the robots to be contained, and 5 different areas on each side. And as such, I made a simple division system to easily understand it, as displayed here. Got it? Good. Now, the Reject 4867 is a part of Group 4B, alongside Serve, the upside-down 5444, and the tall gray robot. Though, is this the same unit as the one from the crash? Who knows? His malfunction is either these repeated hopping motions, joint stiffness, or something else entirely, and he has a red boot connected from his left shoulder to the top of his head, We first see him in the opening shot, though here he's on the opposite side of the room, and trust me, this mistake won't be uncommon in future videos. As Wally gets put in place, he's seen in the background bouncing around, and then again when Wally looks around, as he does something with his arm. He can be found standing in place in the shot from Wally's point of view. He can later be briefly seen in the background when Wally invades the diagnostics room, again on the wrong side. After Wally shoots the control box, he escapes off-screen. Once released, he cheers with all the others, and then turns his attention towards Wally from behind the glass. When everyone turns back around, he can be seen in the far distance, jumping way overhead of the crowd. In the next shot, he then teleports to the tail end of the group, hidden behind the long-necked robot and 753, dancing about with freedom and honoring his master. He then dashes out the doors, being seen from behind, and again after, clipping through 4639 in the process. He later runs around the hallway corner deep within the herd, having a blast with the gang, only to be caught red-handed, literally, by the Stewart bots. He now sits in fear behind Wally, tucked between the small and big red robots. We then get a side view of him as he stares upon the blockade of security. He's also present when Eve arrives, and for when he gets his photo taken. Soon after, he witnesses Eve getting all fussy, and when the unlikely couple dashes away, he makes a run for it along the floor, looking tinier than usual, turning to his right and never showing up again. As for secondary material, in the introduction to combinatorics, he was showcased in the center of the mega chart, though sadly, this is our only look at his full body image. He was also in that pre-rendered shot with a bright green body and a few missing details, where he slides around more, clipping through the bin robot. Yikes. And that's where it ends for this guy. Wow, he got barely anything at all. How unfortunate.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Thankfully, to compensate for the lack of hardly anything here comes newcomer to the channel, WildArt777, with this delightful piece of the lad himself.
He's winking.
They even gave him a custom name, job, and personality too. This did nothing but make me like 4867 even more. Good on you, WildArt. I'm proud of you, even though you make furry porn. There's not much else I have left to say about this dude. He's not exactly my go-to for an interesting topic. He doesn't stand out or contribute much to the overall robot roster, but that's a-okay. Not every robot has to be super captivating on their own, especially in a world populated by such bizarre curiosities. Not to mention, he is to rogue robots the same way how Megalosaurus is to dinosaurs, as in he was the first of his kind documented with very little info available. He often gets overshadowed by later specimens, and has some overlap with others like him. He's the default beginner character, but that's just part of his overall charm. And that, my friends, is 4867, properly this time. You know, I still think it's interesting how I picked a random backgrounder that hardly anyone thinks about as the very first robot to cover. Sure, I could have just started with a main or something, but I didn't. And I think that perfectly symbolizes how every robot, no matter how obscure, deserves their moment to shine. Nobody gets left out. And trust me, after this, things will only get more and more thrilling. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this remake episode. I'm glad to have redeemed my past mistakes, and to know that 4867 has finally been brought to justice. Are there any other reviews you'd like to see me take another shot at? I can think of a few, though I promise next episode will be about a new guy. But before then, I have something I need to get to first. See you all next time.